everyone. Welcome to Day 3, KBIS 2018. I'm Leanne Wood, and I'm the host of the KBISNeXT stage. As part of the PR and social media team, we work on the show. We start 2019 basically next week, so this is something we work on all year. It's very hard to believe it's the last day of the show already. Right, Sherry Qualls? Let's get started with our first topic. Jaime Derringer actually moderated this topic last year, and it was so popular that we had requests to bring it back. First, let me tell you a little bit about Jaime Derringer. She is the founder and executive editor of modern design blog Design Milk, which quickly became the go-to site for unique modern interiors, home furnishings, art and architecture, and is now one of the most popular design blogs, reaching millions of readers across the globe through various channels. Inspired by her love for dogs, and I love the fact that your dog is named Chicken. It's the best. I just imagine you calling her, "Come on, Chicken, come on, Chicken." Inspired by her love of dogs, in 2010, Jaime launched modern design blog Dog Milk to expose dog lovers to pet design. She also runs Adorn Milk, an online shop devoted to architectural and statement jewelry. So a lot of things going on. In 2016, she launched a podcast with designer Amy Devers called Clever that interviews creatives around the world. In addition, Jaime has been noted as an expert on design trends, speaks on design, blogging, social media, and offers consulting. Here at the show, Jaime is collaborating with Modanis Media to bring you the Design Milk Modanis Lounge that's right over there. Go check it out after this panel. Jaime, would you like to join me on the stage?
Hi, everybody. It's the last day. Give it up. I just about hit the wall with my jet lag, just in time to go home and get it all over again. So thanks, everybody, for coming. I'm going to bring up my panelists who are incredibly talented and wonderful. And then I'm going to ask them a little bit about what they do. So let's bring them up right now. Got Jennifer Stoner from Jennifer Stoner Interiors, Mark Spangler from Spangler Architecture, and Liza Jones from Liza Jane Interiors. So please give them a warm welcome. Thank you. As Leanne mentioned, we did this talk last year, and it was super popular. And we talked a lot about the landscape of what's changing with buying and selling. And right now, it's really interesting because buying and selling hasn't really changed much. But what we're seeing is like empty nesters are trying to figure out what to do, and they're having a hard time selling, or they're trying to figure out how they can stay where they are and afford it, and they don't need all of this extra space that they have. And we're seeing millennials try to figure out how to pay for a mortgage or how to buy a house and make it work for them. So Airbnb and rental type properties can really help with that. So that's what we're going to talk about today, but we're going to focus in on the kitchen and bath because last year we talked more about the landscape, and this year what we really wanted to do was zero in on different types of products that you can use for that, and different ways that you could make a space work for multiple different people coming in and out, and really like how you can create durable spaces too. So I want to introduce you to everybody on our panel. So I'm going to start with Jennifer Stoner, Jennifer Stoner Interiors. You've been at it for 18 years.
I have. It sometimes feels like 30 and sometimes feels like I just started yesterday. So I do primarily residential design, a little bit of commercial here and there, but over the past probably 10 years, heavy part of my business has become construction, whether it's new construction or remodels, a lot of kitchen and bath. And I have kind of a conception to completion approach where I like to get involved from the very beginning of a project at the blueprint stage, and very often with the person sitting to my right here with Mark. And then we work with builders and take it all the way through to the final, placement of that last little accessory. So I kind of enjoy seeing the whole process through.
And where are you located?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Is there a lot going on with Airbnb there?
There is. We have a lot of, Richmond is kind of centrally located in Virginia, so we're close to DC, but the nice thing about it is we're close to the mountains, we're close to the beach, so there are a lot of vacation properties around. One of the projects I had the pleasure of working on a couple years ago was out at the eastern shore of Virginia, and I had a client who had about 220 acres and 11 miles of waterfront property that he turned into an executive retreat and a hunting lodge. So that was kind of, I guess, at the higher end of that kind of category. And we certainly weren't, doing small spaces. We had, separate scullery and all kinds of, great bathrooms and lots of bedrooms. So it was a little different than trying to plan for, the smaller kind of income producing one.
Interesting. And Mark Spangler from Spangler Architecture,
Yes.
you've been practicing for 35 years, and you've done homes in many states.
Yes, I'm a sole practitioner, so I wear all the hats in the firm, which is good and bad. So some things I do better than others. Architecture better, bookkeeping not so much. But yes, I've done projects in Virginia, North Carolina, Las Vegas, Nevada, New York, South Carolina. I've done some stuff in Florida as well. So I've seen a lot of work all around the country, and I do projects as small as a half bath up to new homes of any size.
And you've done different types of styles of architecture as well.
In Virginia, it's a fairly conservative area, so traditionally it's traditional architecture. That's usually what you see. In the last 5 years, however, with so many folks moving in from out of Virginia, you're seeing a much more diverse range of work. So I'm doing more contemporary work now than I've done in my entire career, but still lots of traditional architecture, and people seem to like that. We're going to grandma's house. I remember my grandmother's house, and that's what I want to have again, that feel, arts and crafts homes and farmhouse and European models. So, for me, no project's too small as long as the budget works for the client. They're realistic in what they're going to do, and I like working on small projects because a little project like a half bath can also become a piece of a bigger project down the road. Hey, I did that little project, that really worked. I'm going to use that same idea in this project. So I like to stay busy. So a lot of projects at one time instead of a couple, keeps me happy.
Great. So Liza Jones from Liza Jane Interiors. How many people call you Liza Jane?
My dad. My father gave me that nickname from the song Little Liza Jane. So, my last name was Walzak, and I said, there's no way I'm putting that on a business card. So that's how I came up with that name. But I own Liza Jane Interiors. I'm right outside of Washington, D.C., and I'm mainly luxury residential. I've done a few small commercial jobs, but I did have the opportunity to design 2 Airbnbs, one in Aldie, Virginia, and one in Newport, Rhode Island. And it's a very interesting concept as far as the design process, because you really have to start with where the location is. I think that's huge. Designing an Airbnb in New York City is going to be completely different than designing an Airbnb at the beach. So it starts with where is it located, and then you go from there. But anyway, and I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much.
You have a blog too, Inspired Living.
I do.
How long have you been doing that?
2015, so I'm a newbie.
Oh, okay. Fun,
yeah, but
fun.
it's a lot of fun.
So, as you mentioned, designing for Airbnb it's different than designing for a client. And it's not just Airbnb. We are talking about vacation properties, just general rental properties, and also long-term rental properties where somebody owns, maybe it's a duplex or somebody has a room that they rent out or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways that these design changes could be applicable to different types of projects. But I want to start in the kitchen because there's so much. I mean, sinks, countertops, appliances, everything. So we're going to break it down by each individual type of product because I think, it's different. It's not going to be like a one-size-fits-all situation for every type of thing that you're going to put into a kitchen. So let's start with the sink and the faucet. Are there particular materials that work better for this kind of environment?
I think stainless, I would go with stainless just because it's easy to clean and, it just lasts forever.
And when you're putting in a sink and you're thinking about people, lots of different types of people, are you putting in a big sink? Are you putting in a small sink?
It depends on the location. If you're in New York City, more than likely it's probably going to be a smaller sink. If you're at the beach and you have this big, beautiful kitchen, then you might want to put in two sinks, a bar sink and a large sink at the kitchen.
And
Yeah.
what are you thinking about when you're like trying to find the design for the sink? Are you thinking like, oh, these are people that are not going to be cooking? Are they going to be like on vacation, going out to dinner a lot? Are there any other things that you think about?
Well, I like Liza said, I think it really depends on where you're at, because if you're in an Airbnb in New York City, you're probably not even cooking. You're probably going out to dinner.
You don't need a sink.
Yeah. So, and again, if you're in a vacation home that you are expecting a lot of the family, then you're going to want to go to something larger. And I think I agree, stainless is probably the go-to. But if you're designing maybe a higher end Airbnb or kind of a luxury property, which I'm starting to see some of that come up, I think you can go a little bit beyond stainless and go into something like the sill granites and some of those things, which are still very durable, but maybe offer something that's just a little bit different.
Yeah, someone was mentioning to me that one of the trends is they're seeing a lot of built-in sinks that are just come out of the countertop, and you don't even have to buy a separate sink. Yeah.
That would probably start to be like a concrete product. And the issue with a concrete product, though, is going to be that it's not, concrete seems to be very durable, but it's really fairly fragile in that if you drop something on it,
Yeah.
it's going to probably chip. And in something like an Airbnb where it's not their house, they're probably not going to take care the care that they would if it was their own product. They're going to be a little rougher with it. So you want durability is the first and foremost issue.
It's also very porous, so if you're in an Airbnb, people aren't going to be as careful with that glass of red wine. So,
Yeah, that's definitely true. What about other sink accessories like garbage disposals? I mean, those things break all the time. You don't want people like putting weird stuff down the sink.
I mean, I would have a garbage disposal.
Yeah.
I don't think, and again, it depends on the property. If it's a luxury property, then you might want the pull down spray on your faucet, and you might, now this is an extra, but I would do it in any property is the hot water dispenser.
Hot water.
Oh,
Instant hot
interesting.
water. I would do that in every property because the first thing most people want when they wake up is tea or coffee. And it just makes it super easy. So think about conveniences for them and making their life easier and comfortable when they're staying in your space. But, you don't need all the bells and whistles, but some bells and whistles are nice.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I would never have thought of a hot water dispenser, but that's great. So it brings me to countertops. I think, Mark, you mentioned porous. I mean, that's a serious issue. There are a lot of materials that need to be sealed on a regular basis or sealed more frequently than others.
Sure.
What do you recommend?
Well, again, and I think this is something that sort of a theme that's pretty constant is this being designed for a college student, or is it being designed for that luxury end, the client? So the more luxury end, the more exotic you can go with your materials. But I think you start with the basic plastic laminate, which has come a long way in the last 20 years. There's some really cool finishes out there that they put on those. So that wouldn't be a product that I would hesitate to use. But then you can start looking at, a granite's going to be the next thing that's very forgiving with as far as staining. You don't want something that's going to absorb chicken fat and somebody's going to get sick, that kind of thing. But it's durability, and then the aesthetics. I think my thought is if you're doing an Airbnb, people are looking for something maybe a little bit different. And I guess exotic might not be the right word, but you're looking for a little bit more adventure, a little bit more something interesting. So if you pick an interesting material that's durable, that's a plus. If you're going to make an Airbnb that's going to attract people, there's got to be some features that pull them in, and a very cool little kitchen, very cool little bathroom, are things that can be that little feature that pulls them in.
Interesting.
I will say, if you haven't been over to the Wilson Art booth, they've got some beautiful things that they're showing with high definition laminates that with mitered edges that really do not look like your typical laminates. You don't get that brown seam that everybody hates that's ugly. And it's just very durable. They have the integrated sinks there as well, kind of like what you were talking about with the concrete sinks that give you that cleanability and just an easy, smooth surface. At the other end of the spectrum, if I were doing something in a luxury market, just over here around the corner is Geolux. Their product's fantastic, and it holds heat up to, you can take things right out of cast iron skillets right out, holds up to 1200 degree on that surface, and it's all the way through. It's just a beautiful, clean material. It's something that's a little bit different. It's a pyrolithic stone.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wilson Art, I think they have something that's either easy to clean where there's little germ left over, or it doesn't.
Yeah, they have actually things that they're inputting into it that are antimicrobial.
Yes,
Right.
antimicrobial.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, they're great. And they also have quartz. And I mean, quartz, you can
Yeah.
do anything to quartz. You can drop whatever on it, and it's great. Spill the red wine, doesn't really matter. Let's move to the more pricey area of the kitchen, the appliances. I mean, I would say you're probably not putting in luxury appliances, but I mean, some people are renting out their homes when they go away. So what are you thinking for appliances? Do you go super top of the line if you're living there?
I mean, I think if I'm designing a kitchen in my home, I'm going to put what I want in there. And if I have the money, I would put luxury in there. And again, it's the property. Is it your property? Is it in New York City? Well, then you're probably going to want the smaller profiles. And I saw a really cool thing here, a company called, let's see if I can find it, Streamline Hoods, that had a sink and a dishwasher combined. And it was only maybe 24 inches wide. So for a New York City apartment, it was so cool. And it was just, a top-loading dishwasher with the sink right there. So you just have to kind of think outside the box, and again, it's the location of where you are. But if I were designing my kitchen, I'd have all luxury.
That reminds me of those, those laundry units that they used to have in the 50s. It was like a washer and a dryer, and they had it like right in the kitchen. Are those ever going to come back? Because that would be amazing for like a small Airbnb. Have you seen anything like that? I mean, do you put, so let me back up and say, let's just quickly talk about laundry. Is that something you put in the kitchen? Is it something that what do you do with laundry?
Well, a stack washer and dryer.
Yeah.
They take up so little space
saving.
now. If you're doing that Airbnb and you've got a kitchen space where you can put that washer and dryer in sort of a little closet right there, so your plumbing is right there, everything is, all your water's in one location, that kind of helps. I mean, space is usually at a premium in an Airbnb for how you're carving up the space to use it. So one thing I would also say is with the appliances, if it's an Airbnb and you're on site, that's one thing that you can get things fixed easily. You're there to deal with them. But if you're doing an Airbnb and you're not going to be on site and you don't have somebody that's managing it, I think you've got to really look at the products that you use, the appliances you use, are things that are really durable. They don't have track records of bad service. They're probably, I'd say they're probably American made, other than a dishwasher. They're probably good because you can go to any parts house and get a piece for something for Whirlpool KitchenAid, but you start using Thermador and Gaggenau stoves and things like that, you might not be able to get that part. People aren't used to working with them, using that stove.
Yeah, repair, that's a huge issue.
It's a big issue, I think, for Airbnb because you've got people coming through. It's not their house. They're not going to take care of it like you would. They're abusing things. They're turning knobs more than they should, or they leave something on and burn an element out. So you want those appliances to be simple, easy to use, on, off, hot, cold.
Yeah, very basic, because you don't know where they're coming from, what their experience is with cooking.
Exactly.
Yeah, and replacement parts. That's a really good point. What about size? So and gas and electric. Let me ask you, Mark, since you are you're an architect, so sometimes you're building homes from the ground up. So what do you put in a rental unit?
I
Do
mean,
you go with gas or
I
electric?
love gas. The only issue again is just because it's gas. If the pilot, most stoves now they have automatic pilot lights, they stay on, that kind of thing. But an electric stove is just it's easier to use. But I would probably in an Airbnb I would probably tend to go more electric.
Yeah.
I just for some reason I'm just being that nervous Nelly and not wanting to put something in there that could be an issue for somebody. And gas may be for some folks.
I think it's the broadest base of knowledge with our consumers that, everybody knows how to work an electric stove, but not everybody knows how to do the gas, and not everybody is used to induction, certainly, which I love, but I think there are a lot of people, if they walked in and saw an induction range, they would, be clueless and not understand how all that works. So,
Yeah, that's a good point. So what about the sizes? Let's say you're putting in a smaller rental property. Are there good brands to go to that have a smaller size range or smaller size appliances?
I think all the manufacturers have sort of that
Yeah.
beginning
Or like
basic
apartment
small
size.
unit, yeah,
Yeah.
an apartment size, yeah. So
Thermador has beautiful 24-inch wide freezer.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
The refrigerators, you tend
Yeah.
to find more options, and we just installed a Liebherr 24-inch wide refrigerator, and so you do get a little bit more flexibility. But your ovens and your ranges, I don't know that I've seen a whole lot in terms of miniature ones. I'm sure there probably
I did see
are.
them here on the floor. There was a really cute vintage-looking one
Oh,
from.
Smeg.
It was
Smeg
Femi
ones.
or Femme, F-E-M-M.
Oh, okay.
Really cute vintage. But yeah, they're starting to make them more because I think besides the Airbnb, at least over in Asia, that they just don't have the space for the large appliances. So it's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah.
an Advanium stove, I think, is a great option because you've got an actual cooking cavity and you've also got a microwave. So you've got one device that's doing two services, that's for an Airbnb. It's space saving, and it's also you're only buying one device instead of paying an oven and a microwave.
Yeah.
So, and a microwave for an Airbnb is probably more useful than an oven because you're probably
Yeah,
warming things up more than
Right.
you are cooking things.
Right, or
Yeah,
toaster
that makes
oven.
a lot of sense. Yeah, toaster oven or
Yeah,
both.
right.
Let's move on to cabinetry. It reminds me of, I don't know if anybody remembers the IKEA commercial of the kid who's like, Mom, can I have a cookie? Mom, can I have a cookie? Mom, can I have a cookie? Where they're testing the cabinet to see how much it can handle. But, obviously, if you're doing an Airbnb where there's going to be a lot of traffic, a lot of people coming in and out, you don't know how many kids are going to be there or what the families are like. They're going to be rough on your cabinets, on your drawers. They're going to slam them. They're going to... What do you choose? What kind of materials are you looking at? Do you go with the soft close? What do you recommend?
I love soft close on everything. I would definitely go with a good quality cabinet, even if it's a small space that you're doing, maybe just a small 24-inch above and below. Go with the good quality because it'll last forever.
Yeah, I do a lot of custom cabinetry. I've worked with some cabinetry lines, but probably 90% of my jobs were working with a custom cabinet builder. And his finishes are great, but in an Airbnb, I might want to switch and go to a factory finish cabinet line. And there are several out there with, a lot of, even the laminate cabinets have come a long way with especially the more contemporary look and good durability. But I think quality is key for these because, again, people are going to abuse these spaces because they're not their own.
So you're saying like solid hardwood,
Yeah.
way to go.
Simpler lines too. I mean, you don't want a lot of detail in these cabinets. Things are going to get dirty, easy to clean, edges that are going to get chipped. And Jennifer hit on this is whether you with the cabinet for an Airbnb, you really want to think about a manufactured cabinet instead of a custom shop cabinet that's made by somebody in the area because a custom shop cabinet, they're not going to have the ability to put a finish on a cabinet that a manufacturer can, and they have a whole factory that's all they do is put the finish on the cabinet all day long. That's all they do. A shop guy might do one every month. Every cabinet he might do, his finish, but it's never going to be quite as hard as that finish you can get from a manufactured cabinet. So I think that's where you want to start right there because it's just you're going to have less heartache down the road with the finishes being
Yeah.
more durable.
And a finish that's easy to clean.
Very easy to clean,
and
something you just wipe down.
Maybe not a white. I mean, white is beautiful in a kitchen, and if it's your home, then yeah, go for it. But if you're gonna have a lot of people coming in and out, sticky fingers, little
A
kids.
color is definitely better for that. Yes.
Definitely. And then lighting, I mean, this goes really for the whole space. There's a lot of technology coming out in lighting. Like, do you even bother going for something that's maybe a little bit more challenging for people to use?
I think that's kind of like what I was saying with the ovens. There's a learning curve that I don't think we're quite there yet. And when we were first talking about this, my gut instinct was to stay away from some of the technological advances. But being here at the show, it's kind of hard because it's in our face everywhere, and it's fantastic, and I'm excited about it. But I think there are certain places you can plug in a little bit of the technology. But when you get into these smart systems and people are, they can't even figure out how to turn the lights on, I probably not a good review that you're going to get from that client.
Well, what about like a thermostat system? Is a Nest
I
kind
think
of
the
something that's
I think
somewhat
Nest.
easy to understand, right?
Yep.
Nests are pretty easy.
And they're smart. So
Yeah.
like when the people leave, at least, if they're not going to turn the heat off or they'll forget to turn the AC off, but Nest will know to do
Nests are
that.
easy, but I
Yeah.
have one in the last offices, and we had one, and it's a little. If you don't really know what you're doing with it, it can be a little confusing. I think the best ones are there's a Honeywell thermostat that's got a little green digital
Yeah.
screen, and everything is right there that you need to see. With the Nest, you've got to drill down through a couple layers to get to some of the different functions. So it's for a thermostat in an Airbnb, you want it to be easy to go from hot to cold, get the temperature up, get it down, or set it at one temperature and it stays. So that's, I think, simple. As simple as you can get with it
Right.
is the best way to go with that.
And then flooring, tile is obviously, been the standard in kitchens, but I mean, there's a lot of people who have wood flooring in their kitchen. Are there products that are more durable that you would recommend over, say, like exotic hardwood?
Well, in Virginia, actually, probably I would say, at least in Richmond, 90% of our projects have got wood floors in their kitchen.
Yeah.
And it depends on what look you're going for. If you're looking at that more rustic, farmhouse look, a few dings here and there, you're not worried about. If you are more concerned, there's the Rubio monocoat system that's great because it's repairable. If you get a little scratch in it, it's fairly easy to repair it, and it's a good durability product. Again, depends on your location. If you're at a waterfront property or anywhere that's, has humidity issues or anything, then tile may still be the best thing. I actually lived in Florida for a good while, and tile was obviously standard here. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at a beach location, tile, sand and wood don't go very well together. You wear your finish off. Inevitably, the sand gets tracked in and it wears off that finish quicker. One other product to think about is cork. Cork tile is a really extremely durable product. It's comparable in cost to a standard wood floor. It's been around forever. It's the finishes they put on are waterproof. Once it goes down, it stays down. It's very soft underfoot. Standing on tile for an hour or so, your back will start to hurt. On a hardwood floor, not quite so much, but on that cork, there's a little bit of give. But I've done several kitchens with cork floors over the years, and you have to convince people, it's not strong or durable. I'm going to spill water on it. It's going to absorb the water and swell up or come up off the floor. But it really is a great product, and you're seeing it used more. You can get it in patterns, in sheet, in tile, in colors. And again, it's an Airbnb, so it's a chance to do something a little different than wood or tile. It's a different material, and I think that's, again, I think part of that Airbnb experience for a lot of folks is they're looking for something maybe a little bit different. They're not just looking for the cheap place to stay for the night.
Mm-hmm.
well, and I think if you're in a budget project, I'm sorry, Liza. I think if you're in a budget project, another good product is a luxury vinyl tile. The LVTs have come a long way, and to your point, Mark, you can do actually some really kind of cool, funky things with it,
Right.
or you can go with the boring LVTs that look like wood floors. But I think Mark's point about doing something a little crazy with it at a very inexpensive price is a fun idea.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're advocating doing something a little bit different versus doing something that is not really objectionable to anybody, like a just general beige or gray and very neutral.
But a lot of people, obviously, if you're doing an Airbnb, you've got it listed on their site. And some people specifically go to Airbnbs because of the design. They see a design and they're just wowed. And so you can take risks because they're not going to live there. They're just going there for a weekend or maybe a week. So you can push the limits in design.
There's actually a great website. It's called Plans Matter, and it's a website that curates properties around the world that are architecturally interesting, and we're talking really crazy architecture, and they're Airbnbs. So there's definitely a market out there for people who are looking for interesting properties.
So what's it called again?
It's plansmatter.com.
Plans Matter. That's cool. I want to move into the bathroom. Bathrooms also get just as much traction and get dirty. So let's just start with layout, though. Like overall, are there? Let's say you're designing a bathroom from scratch. What are you thinking of?
Well, I personally would not put a tub in it if you don't have to. Now, with the luxury property, people might look at that photo of that beautiful freestanding tub and say, oh my God, I have to stay there. I want to stay there and get in that tub. But for safety reasons, you really have to be very careful. It should be ADA compliant. You should have the grab bars. But you still can make it look beautiful. But you do have to think about safety in the bathroom.
Right.
I do think that because it's an Airbnb, storage becomes less of an issue. So, open air vanities, especially if you're in a waterfront property where humidity is an issue, having open cabinetry that with just some rolled towels or something, there are toiletries in it for them. You don't have trapped spaces that are going to get humid and have issues. And I think you can, it's pretty simple otherwise. I agree with Liza. Nice shower and...
Yeah.
I think again that bathroom. Somebody's coming to stay for a night. They're looking through pages and pages of Airbnb, and you've got an image of this really groovy bathroom with a cool shower with some with multiple heads and some really interesting tile, or the bathroom sink is a very beautiful, simple vanity, and you've got tile on the wall, really pretty tile on the floor. Somebody's going to pick that over the bathroom that's you've just renovated. It's over your garage. That's it's got the sink and the toilet pushed in the corner and a fiberglass shower. I mean, it's again. I think it's people are looking for a little bit of experience. So you've kind of got to sell that space. So the design becomes really important, and that you also want it to be very serviceable. I like when I do a bathroom to get the faucets up off of the sink and put them off of the countertop and put them in the wall. So that, again, that's a different design detail, but it's also, when you go to clean it, it's a little bit easier just to clean the deck off. It also gives you maybe that extra little space to set something that you might not be able to if the faucet handles come up off the deck. I think it's setting yourself apart with a little tweak in the design, so people are going, that's an interesting space. I want to be there.
I think it also depends on, again, we're back to the whole size issue. If it's a small, little unit, again, maybe over the garage, or there's actually, I saw around the corner over that way, it's a company, I think it was called Fine Fixtures, that had the teeniest little vanities I've ever seen.
Yes.
With the little sinks, I feel like my hands are too big for them, but those are good options for that small space.
Yeah, you mentioned having something funky, but what about a spa feeling? I mean, some of these people are on vacation. Are there little details you can put in the bathroom that kind of help make them feel like they're getting a good experience, a spa kind of experience?
A heated floor is a really nice little feature. They're not that expensive to put in there. It's an electric resistance mat. It can come on you can have it pre-programmed, so it comes on in the morning. It's maybe 5 or 6 in the morning, so when somebody gets up at 6 or 7, they go in there, the floor is warm. They've used the bathroom, taken a shower, cleaned up, and they leave, and then it turns itself off and then comes back on again the next morning. So that's a very nice little feature that's very unexpected for somebody, especially if you've never had that experience. It's a really nice, very nice little feel,
Right. The experience is very important. Again, besides the design, how do they feel in that space? That's going to bring people in when they write that review and say, "Oh my God, the bathroom was amazing, heated floors, rain shower, beautiful."
Lighting.
Yeah, lighting. Like you can do, like I would keep the lighting pretty simple throughout the space, but in the bathroom, you're right. I'd probably go with some beautiful sconces.
I would say that lighting is hugely important because honestly, I have no idea what my makeup looks like right now because the lighting at our hotel is horrendous.
Oh, yeah.
So that I really would, I don't think I would go back to this hotel. And it's a very nice hotel, I won't say what, but the bathroom lighting was
There is
terrible.
no bathroom, and
It's
there is no
terrible.
lighting in the bathroom. There, literally, there's no light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much lighting is better than not enough in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
And natural light is important. I mean, anytime you can maximize that in some way. So what about faucets, shower heads, shower spray? Do you have any recommendations for those in terms of not only materials, but the way that they're delivering the water?
I saw a really cool product at American Standard. It was interesting. The gentleman who gave us the tour said that, 95% of men prefer rain shower heads than women. And so they created this shower head that will give you the rain shower, but then you take the handle off, and then it's a normal shower head. So it's a combination. Because personally, I don't really like rain showers. It doesn't. I mean, I just don't like getting water all over my face. But that was an interesting combination that they used to give the experience to both the men and women.
They also had a pretty neat product that was in their Lixil showroom with American Standard, but it was in their Growy line that had the knobs. That was the push buttons. It was like you turned on all your different functions in the shower, like you did on a radio. And you push a button for the rain head, and you push this button for the handheld, and you push a different button for your body jets. And it's just very intuitive, so that if you want to turn the volume up on it, you turn it like a dial on a radio. And that was kind of fun and different for your more luxury Airbnb, or, something unique.
Speaking of luxury, what about like a steam or anything like that in
Yes.
your shower?
For sure, if you can do that, a steam shower, it's usually about $1,000 to $1,200 option. That's works right in the space. The only thing you've got to do different really for the shower at that point is you've got to put a sealed glass door so that you contain the steam. But a steam shower is a very simple. It's on and off. So again, it's one of those things that you can put in and not worry about it breaking down, or somebody's got to know how to work it. It's just on, off typically. You can have units that have more control, but for an Airbnb, just to have that function, it's a very nice thing, and it gives you that spa feeling. So they're great for hangovers, that's for sure.
Not that you're speaking from experience.
Not at all.
So what about finishes? I'm thinking like kids with their, messy hands, and you don't want to spend all day trying to scrub these these knobs. What would you recommend, like a darker metal or?
I don't think
I like
really,
polished nickel. I
Polished.
like a Bath and
Yeah.
Beyond. Almost, very sterile. It looks clean. It's easy to clean. It's bright. It photographs well. I think the darker finishes, even though they're very beautiful, for some reason, to me personally, they always just tend to look it looks a little dirty. I don't know why that is, but I just think there's something about the polished nickel with a white finish that just pops, and it looks clean and it looks sanitary. And I think for a bathroom, if
that's
I'm going to an
important.
Airbnb, I want it to be sanitary
Yeah.
and clean and clean.
Oh my God.
Not lots
There's
of
nothing
not lots of
worse
cracks
than
and
walking
crevices and
into a-
tile. Just clean,
Let me tell you,
undermount sinks.
I stayed at an Airbnb in London, and I literally had to wear flip-flops in the shower. So I did not write a review because I didn't want to write anything bad, but cleanliness, that's number one. In the entire space, but your bathroom has to be meticulously
Well,
clean.
let's talk about the showers. What kinds of flooring do you recommend, and drainage? And what are you thinking about? So many different people's feet and
Right.
dirt and.
Well, you don't want it can't be slip. It needs to be non-slip. So
Right.
smaller
Safety.
tile works better, but then smaller tile, you also have more grout lines. So you want to think about something again that's clean. But then on the walls, all these new materials, the new like Neolith, and what was the other one we looked at today?
The
Cosentino.
Geolux, and there's
Geolux
a million
that-
of those, you know.
You're seeing these man-made marbles and granites that you can put up as a slab for a fraction of the cost of what a slab of real material would cost. So no grout lines, which is really nice. So the less grout lines you can have in that shower, the better. But you also want it to be slip-proof, and it for a floor, smaller tile tends to be a little bit more tactile. So.
And if you want less grout lines and less of the maintenance of a small tile floor, and that, you know, people associate those little tiles with more grime, I think, too. Kohler makes a solid surface shower floor. I think there's some standard or size restrictions, but that may be an option as well. If it's a construction project, if you're actually, you know, designing this from the ground up, you can design it so that you can have a linear drain in it and do a larger format tile. So you have a little bit of less of that, you know, that grout issue. And
Are there any water overflow issues that you might take into consideration or have concerns about, not only with the tub but also the shower?
The trend you're seeing now with lots of showers is what's called a zero clearance. So your bathroom floor goes to the shower door, and then it just kind of slopes down in towards the drain, so that the water all drains down into the drain and doesn't go out on the floor. That's really nice, especially if you're setting up a bathroom for somebody that's handicapped that needs a wheelchair access. Most showers, you know, most people go into a shower and there's that little curb that you step over to go into the shower. That's certainly the safest way to keep, you know, to keep a water issue from exacerbating itself. If I'm doing a design like that in Airbnb, I might also start thinking about putting a drain right outside the shower door with maybe like a wood mat that's recessed down into that space. So you step out of the shower, you're wet, you're still dripping water, but then it's caught again by that secondary drain, which again then becomes sort of another design feature in the bathroom. It's just another place to make it feel a little bit different. You know, you have this beautiful tile floor, and they have this little inset teak deck material that drops down into a drain. But it keeps the bathroom floor a little drier, less potential for maybe slipping. But
Yeah, I would say you got to just make sure to test that really well, and that you've got a good contractor and a good labor person who knows what they're doing. Because I've stayed in places where they do that and they just don't slope it right, and you've either got like gross puddles of water collecting, or it just spills out. Like I had this one hotel I stayed at, and I had a wheelchair accessible room. It was like the only one available. My entire bathroom flooded. The shower, it was just the whole bathroom was a shower. It was so crazy. So I want to ask about electrical considerations, because you need to have outlets. Are you putting in like USB outlets? Are you putting in any other kinds of electrical devices or?
Well, everybody
fixtures?
has a cell phone, so yeah, I think it's a really nice feature. Again, like the hot water, instant hot water, it's the little things like that that make it more enjoyable to stay. They're not looking around for a plug. You could either have it in the kitchen or you can have it in the bedroom, either one, but I think that's a really nice feature to have. All the, the USB, the plug-ins and all that stuff.
Great. Are there any other safety considerations for either kitchen or bath that you might want to take into consideration when there's going to be a lot of people?
I probably keep going back to it, but it's that flooring surface. It's
Yeah.
just putting a surface down it's going to be the most forgiving. It's going to be the safest. It's not going to be slick. I don't want polished marble in my bathroom. I don't want polished marble in a kitchen. I want something that if it gets wet, that somebody's not going to lose their footing on. That's one of the reasons I really like the cork tile, because even if it gets wet, it's not slick. And most hardwoods aren't, but nothing that's got a high gloss finish to it, because it's harder to maintain. It's going to look dirtier over time, and I think it can be dangerous.
Yeah, that's true. We had talked about safety considerations in our previous Airbnb talk last year about like the different types of lock systems and stuff. So that's certainly something to think about too. Not necessarily for kitchen and bath, but just for rental properties in general, making sure you're up to speed with all the new safety.
Well, yeah, and smoke detectors
Yeah.
and exit plans and the welcome packet. That's very important.
Well, and now you've got the combination locks that are just easy, and you don't have to worry about, the keys exchanging hands, and you can change your code, so that's an easy thing. I know there's been a lot lately about cameras and Airbnbs and, some creepy things going on, which we certainly won't advocate. But cameras outside the house, the Ring doorbells, that's a great idea in an Airbnb where you can feel like you have some safety, because I feel like some of these, especially in a more luxury market, you've got transient people coming in and out. You may be more of a target, and having that might give you a little bit more of a safer feeling.
Yeah, and I think if you're staying in an Airbnb, you appreciate that they care about your safety. If they have exterior cameras installed or a Ring doorbell, just to make sure that you feel comfortable, because you're staying in somebody's house in a weird area you've never stayed in before. So, having that is really comforting. And Ring actually just launched outdoor cameras.
Right.
They have a whole system. Yeah, so it kind of talks to itself.
The whole approach for somebody coming to, if you're doing an Airbnb, if you're setting your house up for that, is they get out of their car. How do they get to that door to come into the house? How easy is it? Is it a well-lit pathway? I mean, you want people to feel safe, so and you want it to be easy. If you're on site, you don't want people that are standing there and you're trying to live your life. They're coming knocking on your door. Where's the door to go in? Or it should be very simple and very straightforward.
Are there any other maintenance or repair recommendations that you have for any of the products?
Well, I would say one of the things is the in the bathroom behind the plumbing, where the plumbing is to have the hidden, what do you call that?
Like an access
access
Yeah,
panel.
hidden access panels. That's
They're easily found.
right.
Yeah,
But
not too hidden.
Right.
Right,
And you
but-
can open them.
Right. And so it makes fixing a plumbing problem very, very easy. And then you're not ripping up all the tile that you just installed. And I would say if you're going to use grout, I would use dark grout. Don't go with a light grout.
Yes.
It stays cleaner looking.
Anybody else?
That's a trickier one, because there's
I know.
subtle little things that you could go into that might not be very interesting, though.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's really important to have like good repair people on call just in
Understand.
case,
Yes.
because if you're going to have a lot of people coming in and out, you need to know that you can get that fridge fixed within 24 hours, because you might have another guest coming. And same thing with cleaning, making sure you have like really good, trustworthy cleaning people.
I think it's definitely having a team that you can rely on. We're actually down here, Liza and I are down here on the blog tour, and one of the ladies on blog tour with us we're all from Virginia, and she's in DC, and had her pipes burst while she was down here. But luckily she had somebody that she could call in and do that. So you've got to have people that you can rely on.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the questions I have. So thank you. And I would love at this point to open it up to see if anybody has any questions out here in the audience.
Designing a home in Martha's Vineyard for a client who is going to be using it as an Airbnb. She is very much into color. She would put one room in one color and another and another and another, which I've tried to discourage. But how do you feel about color in an Airbnb?
I think it's great.
Okay.
You know, her guests will only be staying there for a week or
Okay.
a weekend. And so they get to, maybe they're afraid of color, but they love it. So they get to go stay at that Airbnb and be in that beautiful, colorful room and experience it. So I think it would be a great selling point.
Okay.
But I do think that you're a designer, so you know how to do that tastefully.
Right.
And not have it, read as the Crayola box that you're going from room to room. So yeah, I'm definitely a color person. I like a lot of color, but I think there's a way to do it well, and it's up to you to kind of help her tone that down and do it, in a sophisticated manner.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, Sherry?
So you talked a little bit about the whole drainage thing, which I think is probably a huge, huge issue. What about these products like Infinity Drain, replacement drain, the whole gross hair cloggy thing? I mean, are there products that absolutely just should always be specified, period, because of the nature of their functionality and the fact that they're designed to deal with that kind of easy cleanup and that sort of thing. Not by the customer, obviously, but by the cleaning crew.
I think with drains, I believe, and probably you know this better than I do, but Roll has a really great replacement drain that actually has kind of a hair catching system that is an easy, you can take out the standard drain that's in your shower and pop this one in, and it's, you're not drilling any extra screws, and they're beautiful, and it's a nice architectural statement, but also a very practical one from that standpoint. And we had also, I don't think it's come up, but, from another kind of, plumbing issue or drainage issue, but toilets.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about toilets. Let's talk about toilets for a minute.
Yes, it's not a glamorous topic, but I think it's, really important to have a toilet that stays clean on the inside, stays clean on the outside, and certainly functions. So I'm a big one. I love a one-piece skirted toilet. There are less seams. There's less places for dust to collect. That said, my favorite toilets don't actually come in a one-piece skirted. The Vormax toilet and the Champion toilet from American Standard are fantastic. The Champion toilet actually has the largest flush valve, I guess, and it's a 4-inch trap, which normal standard toilets are 3. So you're not going to get those calls in the middle of the night looking for a plumber to come, fix the clogged toilet, or your guests aren't going to be having to dig a plunger out from a sink. But right now they're only coming in the 2-piece, but they're hoping to move into that. But then there's the Vormax toilets that have that kind of, it's the whirlpool flushing system where the water comes out from the top of the bowl, and they actually have integrated cleansers that you can put in there. And now Kohler actually has come out with their new one. It's the Corbel group that has that same kind of technology. So
that brings me to another question about water saving, energy saving appliances and fixtures. Are you ever recommending that your clients maybe get something a little pricier to help offset all the use and abuse that they're going to be experiencing?
In California, they have, we learned that in California, they have a law now, so they have to have that certain water saver inside the mechanism. And I forget how many cc's of water it allows, but so it's 2 cc's, 2 gallons. Yeah. So, you have to look at the location you're at and the codes, make sure you're building it to code.
Well, I think all those water saving, things that some of the higher end lines are building into their product are good design, whether it's an Airbnb or just in your everyday projects.
Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you to our panel.
Thank you.
Thanks to KBIS for having us.
We want to thank Home Advisor and Jamie, too.
Oh, yeah, Home Advisor.